What's up everybody? It's AndyFadeMaster here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a bald fade. I'm going to start off with my magic clip by Wahl. To start off, I'm going to take my number 2 guard from Wahl and begin from the front to the back. When cutting the top, make sure that you use a comb or a brush to remove all the excess hair while you're cutting. After cutting front to back, you're going to want to go in an X pattern motion, going from the left to the right and the right to the left, making sure that the top is cut evenly. Now that I have the 2 on the top, I'm going to make my skin line, starting at the temple and going all the way around to the other side. Continue around to the back of the head, making sure that the 2 lines meet in the middle. I will then take my Wahl shaver and using very light pressure begin to skin right where that line was that we just created. After using my electric razor, I will now take my magic clip by Wahl with the lever pulled all the way to the back and begin to make my next guideline. I will now take my half guard from Wahl and start with the lever back. I will be creating my next guideline an inch. Once you've created your next guideline, close your lever slightly and begin to work directly under that guideline. I will now take my 1 guard with my magic clips and the lever pulled back and begin to make my next guideline. We're going to slowly close our lever to halfway and begin to take out the first line in between the 1 and the 1.5. Once that line is removed, you'll be left with 2 lines. The skin line and then the 1.5 line. We're going to go ahead and remove the 1.5 line first. You may need to change the angle that you're cutting at in order to remove some of the dark spaces on the back of the head. After removing that top line, I like to use a special technique to remove the skin line. This technique requires you moving in 1/4 inch increments with your thumb as you begin to move up in the fade, making sure that your last step isn't any higher than that first initial 1 inch guideline. I will now use my cordless detailer from Wahl and begin to edge up the front of the customer's head. When doing this, you want to make sure not to lift the customer's line. So for me, I like to start in the middle and work my way towards the highest side. Take your razor and begin to go over the line you just created against the grain. When your fade is done, be sure to complete the total look, edging up any facial hair. Remove any excess hair. And there you have it, folks, a signature bald fade. What's up everybody, this is AndyFadeMaster here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a skin fade with a pompadour. I'm going to start by getting the hair wet on top. I'm then going to comb the hair back and part it starting at the temple. I'm now going to take my cordless Wahl detailer and begin to start my first guideline. Continue to work all the way around, making sure that the guideline is consistent. Going to now move on to my second guideline. You're going to continue around to the back and then to the other side. To create my next guideline, I'm going to use my half guard with the lever back and create another guideline above my previous guideline, 1 inch. Now I'm going to slowly close my lever halfway and begin to work directly below that guideline that was just created. We're going to work now on the skin line. This essentially is the hardest line to get rid of, so you're going to want to be careful when performing these tasks. I will now take my number 1 guard from Wahl and begin to remove some of the bulk in this area. I will now use my shear over comb in order to remove the bulk in this area. Now cut the crown of the head in a vertical pattern, making sure to remove the step between the long hair and the short hair. I'm now going to create a horizontal guideline starting in the crown of the head to the front. I want to make sure that the back and the crown is shorter than the front. Once the hair is trimmed on top, I will then go back and use point cutting to minimize the weight but still retain the length. I will use my thinning shears to remove more weight from the back, making sure that the lines are removed and the fade is smooth. I will now take my Wahl Finale shaver and begin to skin slightly below my first guideline. And use a vented brush to remove moisture and add value. I will now apply product to the hair, starting with the fingertips, massaging at the roots and working my way to the tip. I will then take my Magic Clip by Wahl and begin to fade out the top of the beard. I will now attach my 1 guard and begin to lighten some of the beard hair. When edging, I like to use both of my hands. 1 hand to hold the clipper and to guide it in the direction needed, and then 1 hand to use my thumb to guide only the blade portion of the clipper to make sure that I don't lose control of the clipper. After using the Wahl detailer, I'm going to go back around the edges with my straight edge razor, making sure that the lines are crisp and very sharp. And there you have it, folks. Skin faded pompadour. What's up, it's AndyFadeMaster here, and I'm going to show you a creative concept haircut. I'm going to start by wetting the top of the hair and creating a horizontal part, starting at the temple. I'm now going to take my cordless Wahl detailer and begin my first line. Now with my creative haircut, I'm going to want to leave some bulk in the back. I'm not going to make the line extend all the way to the other side. I'm now going to go in there and begin to fade out the bottom up to the line that I created. Now I'm going to continue on to the back, skinning all the way up to the point. I'm now going to use my Wahl Finale and skin right below my first guideline. I'm going to take my cordless magic clip with my lever back and begin to fade out, creating my second guideline. I'm going to take my half with my lever back and begin to create my next guideline. I'm now going to take my one guard and begin to fade, going straight up, starting with my lever back. I'm going to lightly remove all the bulk that you see here. I'm now going to go back with my one guard and continue to do touch-up work, removing all the bulk areas that are still remaining. I'm now going to go in there with my cordless detailer and sharpen up the lines and create a shape up on the side. Using my number 4 guard, I'm going to trim some of the hair in the crown area. Then we can go in there and start to etch in some of the tribal design. Now this is completely freestyle. This isn't rehearsed, this wasn't practice. I want to get the most realistic feeling. In creating tribal art, it's good to use thicker and thinner lines to create dimension. When looking at the design from far, you need the lines to be a little thicker in order to have it visible. Now that the framework for the tribal design is there, we're going to continue to remove any of the bulk at the top of the hair with my shears. I'm now going to take my cordless detailer and create a shape up. I'm now going to wet the top of the hair and begin to cut in some texture. I'm now going to take my detailer and begin to detail around the edges. So I'm going to continue by fading the beard in as well. And I'm going to take my detailer and begin to edge around the beard. I'm now going to use my straight edge razor to go around and crispen all the lines and really bring out the details. I'm going to apply some grooming spray and style the top. Once the hair is blow dried, I'm going to apply some texture powder to create separation. I'm now going to apply a matte finish pomade. Remove all the hair from the neckline area. And you have your creative concept by AndyFadeMaster.